How do you feel great on vacation? Like really good? Easy. You go to Aruba. You'll spend your time relaxing on cool white sand beaches and floating in healing blue water. You'll immerse yourself in natural wonder and find your center on an island where things move at your speed. You won't just feel great, you'll feel relaxed, renewed, and ready for life. That's the Aruba effect. Plan your trip at Aruba.com.
Hello and welcome to the Publicly Challenged Podcast. I'm your host, Luke Oswald, and I hope you join me on my quest for knowledge to become a better public land hunter, angler, and forager. Stick with this and who knows, maybe we will learn something together. All right, real quick before we get started on the show, I'm just going to talk about Treeline Academy. You've heard me say it. I can't even tell you how many times. Mark Livesay is treelineacademy.net. That's treelineacademy.net. Sign up. Use the promo code PC2020. Save yourself $20. Can't say it enough. It's awesome. Amazing. Most comprehensive e-scouting course out there. Check it out for yourself. Sign up. Use promo code PC2020. And now let's get to the show. All right, so I'm sitting here, and I am at the Beast Mode. Like I would like to say, even though it's not, it's the mini games, but I'm going to think of it in my mind as the Beast Mode because I'm definitely not ready, especially after today. We know this. This has been proven scientifically. It's science, right?
I think it's science, but
okay.
I think you did pretty well.
So I'm going to have you guys go around and introduce yourselves, and then we'll kind of roll into this thing.
So introductions, are we doing like titles, like we're official and important, or just names?
You can do all of the above.
Nathan, we should start with you, buddy.
I got to start?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm Nathan McGree. I'm the owner, operator, GM, god of Tyrol Basin.
God of, wow. Ooh. Like Thor, or what are we thinking?
Probably more like Loki.
Like, okay.
Nathan doesn't have the hair like Thor, so
no, I
can't really be Thor.
Luscious locks.
And we're sitting over here with Brian. Brian, go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit.
I'm the Brian Austin with the Beast Mode Archery Challenge.
And the Brian Austin Experience.
And the Brian Austin Experience.
That will be coming soon.
To a bus near you.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. So, Johnny Love, 2019, right?
Is that what it is on the gram, as the kids call it?
That's what it is on the gram.
The gram.
I don't know. Everybody calls me Johnny Love, so I must.
Because you've got a lot to give.
I must be like the love of every.
I guess
every soul out there.
He's a '70s child.
Well, I love you, John. So
yeah,
it makes sense.
It's just Brian. Yeah.
All right, so let's kind of go into Tyrol Basin a little bit, and because I've already covered. Brian actually approached you and kind of talked to you. What was your thought process on the time?
Brian approached me. We started talking about having some cool archery events out here, and about having some cool archery events out here. I thought it was a great fit for what we do out at Tyrol. It's something that makes a lot of sense, and a lot of people can come out here and enjoy. Get some summer traffic to Tyrol Basin. It's a great group of people who are passionate about hunting, like-minded, gets people active, gets people out hunting, gets people in front of the Tyrol Basin brand, but also having a good time.
Yeah. No, I think after meeting all you guys, I think it's awesome, the group of people that you kind of have, that you've got your regulars and, some extras that show up, and it's pretty cool. I'd share a hunting camp with you, but I'm definitely not sleeping in the same tent as some of you, for sure.
Especially John.
But why is everybody always picking on you, Johnny? What?
Why?
It's because they love you, right?
I take it so well, and everybody loves me.
I mean, John's the only one who killed a buck last year, so
that is true.
We'll just put that out there. So.
True.
But what about the one that you missed?
Well, we won't talk about that one.
Oh. What's that one?
We didn't miss one, did we,
It's
Brian?
pretty much the
that
biggest
one.
buck that's ever been seen in Wisconsin, and they both missed it.
Yeah. Well, I got the whole story earlier, so we don't have to go too much.
We're not going to go into that on this.
Okay.
All right. We're going to skip that. I think so.
Was there? Where'd that one happen? Is that the garage sessions? the unreleased garage session?
Yeah, so we have a couple podcasts that we've done that we have not released just because of the PG rating that we'd probably have to put on it.
You just label it explicit, and then you can still get it out to all the listeners for sure. But so let's kind of go on. We need to kind of. So the BMAC Mini, why did you do it? What was the kind of reason behind that?
So I came up with the BMAC Mini mostly because to get people that maybe had felt intimidated to do the BMAC games a chance to come out here and really experience it firsthand and to realize that we're not just a bunch of gym rats, which we aren't. And we're not, what I get a lot of feedback with is that the BMAC, the Beast Mode Archery Challenge, just the name itself is intimidating. And that's not really what any of this is about. This is about getting people into health and fitness and hunting and enjoying the outdoors. And rather if you are an elite athlete or just somebody that's coming off the couch, there's something here for you. Yeah, if you're coming off the couch, you're going to have to embrace the suck a little bit more probably. But but everybody's here to cheer you on and to help you out and stuff. So the BMAC Mini was designed for that to get people that are just getting into it an opportunity to come out here and experience it without the whole day or the 2-day event of what the Beast Mode Games is all about. So it's a taste of what the BMAC Games is about. But today we had most of the people that were here. We had probably 6 or 7 new people that have not done the BMAC Games. Most of the people that came today were people that have done the events, but they just enjoy being here and they enjoy the camaraderie and what we're all about. So
I think that's pretty cool. I got guilted, I'll say that, into coming here.
Oh, by who?
I wanted to anyway. Johnny Love, once again. Your name gets thrown around a lot, but you didn't really. It wasn't really guilt. I wanted to come. I wanted to show up, but I ended up. I'm here. I did it. I sucked, but that's. Who am I competing against other than myself, right?
You know what, though? You didn't suck.
You finished.
The fact that you came out and did this and were a part of this whole event and, competed with the rest of us, I mean, that's really, truly what it's all about. Because just as Brian said, I think a lot of people don't truly believe and understand and realize what they're actually capable of
until you push yourself.
That's
right.
Right? And, you have to just come out and experience it. It truly is all about the group of people that have come together for these events. We don't care if you're the last place finish, because believe me, I've been last. Multiple times. I was probably last today because actually I missed and had to do.
Right, you had to do burpees.
Burpees. So yeah, I probably was last.
Well, my nickname is DFL, which is dead fucking last.
That is true. Good point, Nathan. But seriously, it's about the group of people. Everybody wants to, encourage each other to do the best that they can and to realize that, guess what, you're actually capable of a hell of a lot more than what you give yourself credit for. You just have to come out and do it.
Like, I think I'm capable of more, but that pace, that was.
Well,
it was
so today was short. It was very intense, but like from your point of view, Luke, is that this was your first time. So you had no idea what to expect.
No.
Where most of these people knew something or knew what kind of I had in store just by the look of the layout that we had. So it's definitely that first time you're going to be there. You're going to feel intimidated, even though there's no intimidation that we're trying to show to you. But you're also going to feel just nervous because it's something totally different. But with that said, I like these events to be something that challenge people too. So it's going to be challenging no matter what fitness level you're at. And again, we don't really care if you finish first or last, like John said. It's just a matter of coming out and doing it, because really what this is about preparing ourselves for September and for our hunts.
Yeah.
And what better opportunity of pushing ourselves and being at a high heart rate, and because when you push yourself, your flaws come out. You start to learn about yourself. You start to learn what your weaknesses are, and then that educates you to know what to work on to make yourself better. So that's another way to look at these events, as an opportunity to, I guess, better yourself and figure out what it is that you really do need to work on.
Yeah, for real.
Brian's
That's a good
events
one.
make better hunters, and
I would agree.
I would be proof of that. I've never bow hunted in my entire life. I did Brian's events. I did his training classes on Tuesday nights. I walked out in the woods last year, and I killed 3 animals.
Nice.
For first year of bow hunting, to be able to walk out in the woods and take 3 animals home, that's, most people don't do that. And the training that Brian puts us through prepares you to get out there, and when that animal walks in front of you and your heart rate skyrockets and you get super excited, we know how to cope with that and calm ourselves down and hopefully be able to be successful in the woods.
Well, you may not even be able to calm yourself down. You
Right.
learn how to be able to shoot with that high heart rate and things. And, you know, it's almost kind of sad. I feel like I shoot better now
Yeah.
with my heart rate elevated than I do with, you know, if I were to just go and walk around a standard 3D course, I'm probably not going to do very well.
Well-
And I feel like, yeah, being able to get your heart rate up, and it's simulating the fact that, and whether people believe it or not, I can guarantee you that when that deer walks out in front of you, your heart rate is going to spike and it's going to go up.
Which is messed up because I'm pretty sure on my first round, my heart rate was higher because I didn't know what was going on.
That could
And
be.
I actually, it
So-
actually benefited me. I actually got a
What,
good.
what I'd like to do, we have a young woman here. Her name's Dana. So Dana came to my classes to begin with this year. She's new to archery within the last year. She's been doing my Tuesday night classes, my Get Fit with GFB Outdoors classes. And it's one thing for us to talk about this and for your listeners to hear a bunch of guys talk about it. But this is a girl, young woman. Dana, how old are you?
I'm 30.
She's 30, so she's a young woman. But somebody who she wasn't a hunter before this. She grew up kind of in a hunting family, but she never hunted. But this is a woman that came to my classes. That's mostly full of men. We do have some ladies, but she broke through that barrier of that being intimidated. So she's done my classes. She has done most of the events. You've done all the events this year, I believe.
Pretty much all
Except
of
for
them,
the
yeah.
indoor one and this last March or whenever at Vortex.
Mhm.
So maybe for her to give, or maybe Lucas, if you had some questions that could direct, because I imagine you have some listeners that maybe are getting into this, or maybe this might spur some people that, hey, I want to get into archery or try these events out. And this is coming from somebody who's never done the events and has never hunted before.
So what was your experiences? I mean, what made you want to come and do this? First of all, let's start with that.
Sure. Yeah. So, I mean, just getting into archery, like Brian said, I came from a hunting family, but I always kind of thought hunting was boring, like sitting in a tree, looking at, waiting for a deer. I thought that was kind of boring, but I was always into athletics and sports and stuff. And so I decided I wanted to get into archery, this past winter, and kind of went down an Instagram wormhole and found Brian's page. And I was like, this looks cool, like mixing archery with fitness and athletics and things like that. So that's kind of why I went to the first class, and I was so horrible. Like, I remember talking to Brian the first night, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to hit like the 20-yard target. Like, I've been literally shooting for a week, so what can you do with that? But everyone there was so welcoming and encouraging and accepting of my flaws and just where I was at. So I felt comfortable enough to come again the next week, and it was just really cool. It was a cool community of people, and it just felt really good to push myself and integrate those two different aspects of, being in nature and outdoors and hunting, along with athletics and things like that.
Did you do like CrossFit or anything before you came, or was it something that was completely entirely new to you?
Before this, in terms of like athletic events, I had gotten a little bit into triathlons and things like that, and I had lived out west a little bit, so I loved hiking and like backpacking and things like that. So it was a really nice way to blend kind of my upbringing with these other interests that I got kind of throughout my 20s. So,
Did Brian push you, or was it kind of like what was the first? Do you remember the first workout you did?
I do vividly. Yes.
Okay. Let's kind of hear that.
Okay, so the first workout, I showed up and I was like, man, I was really nervous, really nervous.
This is gonna be good because I don't even remember it.
I do. Only because I remember, like, there's a new girl coming tonight who said she just switched to a left-handed bow, but she's right.
Give him the mic.
There you go.
We'll start that over. Go ahead and give him the mic on that one.
Yeah, so we're talking about Dana's first night.
Right.
Yeah, so I helped you set up that night. And it's like, he just said, there's a new girl showing up who's never worked or who just switched from gun hunting to bow hunting. And she just switched from a right-handed bow to a left-handed bow because she's left eye dominant.
Mm-hmm. But right-handed.
Yes. So it was funny because we had to set up targets, and Brian's like, yeah, she's all worried that she's not going to hit anything. So I remember setting up targets specifically for you that night, and Brian's like, yeah, this one's for Dana. Let's put this one up like at 15, 20 yards max because we'll just let her shoot this one. And that's when we set it up down there at the bottom of the tubing hill. So, and yeah, I mean, that was the whole setup of that night was because, yeah, we even...
I had my personalized. It was a Dana target.
Yeah,
so
I mean, that's cool though, right? He knew that there might have been some challenges that you were going to face.
Yeah, and he totally
accommodated
customized it to make me feel comfortable.
So what was the workout portion of it? Do you remember that?
Yeah, so I remember, the first couple of shots. Well, we started out with a warm-up hike, which, I did okay with that, and then we had some warm-up shots, and I had some problems with my release, so I was just flustered to start with, but then we had this. I remember you paired me with Jimmy, who's like a freaking beast, and I'm trying to keep up with Jimmy, and I was like, I am gonna puke, I'm gonna puke, and so yeah, I mean, it definitely pushed me, and it was uncomfortable, but it at the same time, everyone was just so encouraging that it made me want to come back. So
then from that point on, I mean, you pretty much just did an entire year doing all that, and then.
So I started coming at the end of April, and I've been coming since then. So.
And then so you knew you wanted to be in the games, the actual games, not the mini like I did, but.
So that was, yeah. I mean, I came to a couple more classes, and they were talking about the BMAC games, and I was like, I don't know if I'm quite ready yet.
Johnny,
my shooting.
Johnny
isn't
guilted
quite.
you into it. Was that?
They didn't pressure me at all. I kind of
Oh.
was just like, if I'm gonna, if I want to be a part of this community, I think it's kind of like if you want to be a shark, you gotta, and you're a guppy, you might as well swim with the sharks. You can't keep swimming with the guppies. So I was like, I'm just gonna put myself out there and see what happens. So.
So do you think you're hooked on it now and you're going to keep doing it?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think the competition aspect is more fun than the hunting, or does it kind of tie in together now?
I mean, I guess we'll find out because I'm going to be, going on my first bow hunts this fall. So, yeah, but I think it's gonna all blend together pretty nicely.
So what are you planning on doing? Are you going to hunt locally, or are you going out west? What are you doing?
So Wisconsin and probably a little bit in Minnesota. So my family's from northeastern Wisconsin. We've got 40 acres and then a larger farm that I can hunt on. And then my dad and brothers hunt out in Minnesota, bow hunting. And then here in Madison area, hoping to hunt a little bit with Johnny Love 2019.
Oh, jeez. Wow.
Locally. So I've got some options is what I'm saying.
Yeah. We'll get her out here in the woods of Tyrol and see what she can do.
There you go.
Yeah, maybe even
There
at
you
Tyrol.
That would be awesome. So have you put in any work yet picking out? You haven't picked out a single place yet. You're just going to buy a tag and go then, huh?
Well, I know for sure, like back home where I'm from, like on weekends and stuff, I can hunt back there. But yeah, in terms
Are you
of around
excited?
here, I'm really excited. Like I was actually telling a friend the other day, like I'm just really excited to hunt this year. Like, I mean, I've gun hunted for a couple of years,
Yeah.
and that it's fun in terms of just like the social community of it, but
It's not like
it's not the same. Yeah,
It's not,
like there's so much more
Yeah.
skill and just like drive.
it's intimate. Like bow hunting is
Mhm.
intimate. It's
Mhm.
not the same. And I drew a tag that was 4 years it took me to draw a public land tag. So like not super long compared to like Western standards, but 4 years to draw a tag in Illinois is kind of a long time. And so I finally drew the tag. And now that I have the tag, it's this conundrum that I have because I can bring my bow. I can bring my bow and go hunt this tag. But at the same time, what if I pass up a buck of a lifetime because I brought my bow and now I'm within 30, 40 yards and that's all I can do.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
but at the same time, I guarantee you I wouldn't be as happy as if I brought my bow and shot that deer with my bow. So
Yeah,
that's
there's more to prove to yourself.
something I'm wrestling with right now. But I'm kind of curious, like your story, Nathan, where, because I mean, okay, you've got Tyrol Basin. He approaches you at the time. Did you have a desire to go bow hunting, or was it something that like to get into archery, or was it just something where you completely?
I'd gun hunted, and I guess I was fairly new to gun hunting to a certain extent. I didn't start actively hunting until I was in my 30s, just because I didn't have the opportunity and I didn't make time for it. So when Brian approached me, I kind of saw it as an opportunity to force myself into being able to hunt more often because it was something that I enjoyed the little bit that I had done it. But then the group of people that he associates with and he does his things with they're great guys. It's an activity that, in a lot of states gets a lot of negative attention. And, hunting, whether it's, guns get negative attention all over the place. Any sort of weapon does. And if we can show the world around us that we can go out in the woods, we can essentially harvest an animal so that we can live, regardless of what the world around us is, I think that's a skill set that we should have. I also think that spending that time in the woods and getting away from the rest of society, sitting in a tree stand for 2, 3, 4 hours, so that you can come back into the rest of the world.
4 hours? You don't do all day sits yet?
I don't have time for all
I'm
day
just
sits,
kidding.
unfortunately. Last year I hunted probably 130 days, but it's in 2-3 hour increments. It's when I can go. I have the luxury of I can just walk out of my office and be in the woods in 5 minutes.
That's pretty cool.
I can be from my desk to a tree stand somewhere on our property in literally 5 minutes.
You could also put your pack on and hike up there anytime you want. So I'm just curious
Yes.
why you didn't.
Yeah, let's talk about that. How come he doesn't do that more often?
I mean, if I had this hill, I'd be putting money at the top and trying to compete to go get it.
So the next ski area that I buy will be flat so that I do not have to hike uphill.
That's probably going to be pretty profitable, I would assume.
We'll focus on cross-country skiing.
Okay.
I need somebody to push me, especially when it comes to physical fitness.
I do too.
I've sat in a gym for many, many years, lifted weights, done the typical muscle head sort of thing, but that doesn't take you to that next level. And
No.
from a cardio standpoint, I can't do a treadmill. I just can't do it. I can't focus. I can't stay on it. I can't sit there for an hour and run. It's awful. This gets us our cardio. This gets us that an elevated heart rate, or I'm forgetting the name of the specific type of training where you go from elevated heart rate up and down.
HIIT.
Yeah, like HIIT training. Yeah, high intensity interval training. that, we want to do in the gym so that we can be physically fit. But in the gym, it sucks so much, you just can't force yourself to do it. So we come out here and we actually incorporate a type of training that we're excited about. So training to go out in the mountains, training to go out into the woods of Wisconsin or Illinois or Minnesota to hunt. And we incorporate that into the training so that we're not bored. We're not sitting and watching a TV on a treadmill. There's definitely a lack of yoga pants out here during Brian's training, unfortunately. But it's a lot more fun.
Well, and there's something to be said definitely about being outside and in nature and exercising and getting away from, what most of us are surrounded by every day, electronics and TV and computers and stuff like that. And, now it's a lot of these clubs and fitness facilities are trying to be more high tech.
Yeah.
And it's, every machine almost has a screen on them now in some of these places. And it's just, that's not the point. The point is to get away from that stuff. It's to rebalance our bodies and our mind. And so that's kind of what all my training is based around. It's, even though some of it is inside, we try to be outside as much as possible and be in nature as much as possible and to do functional stuff. I think functional is a overused term, but I believe that it's, when it comes to hunting and, backcountry hunters, I'm a firm believer. Hunters are the original athletes. The hunter-gatherer lifestyle, you have to be fit. You have to be able to endure the suffer and the pain of hiking miles and I guess basically being deprived of calories and all that stuff. So that's kind of what we're about, and we're about pushing ourselves mentally. And when it comes to the classes that I do and the events that I do, I try to make them challenging to the point where they're going to take most to that breaking point. I don't ever want to see anybody get injured. This past year we had no injuries, which was great. We had a couple people that had to drop out because of prior injuries, and it was just kind of irritating them. And I told them, look, it's fine to step away. Hunting this fall is more important than finishing this event. So, and that's okay. But that's the number one worry that I have doing these events is for somebody to get injured. So that's obviously goal number one is for you to walk away and be able to hunt this fall. Number two is to have fun, right? I don't know if you have read or have listened to Michael Easter and The Comfort Crisis. Excellent book. I encourage everybody that's a hunter to read that because basically his book, the premise of the book is based on the hunt that he did with Donnie Vincent up in Alaska for caribou.
Okay.
And it talks about, he goes, he tells that story, but he goes off in tangents about nutrition, about exercise, about being in nature, and he backs it up with science and research and stuff. So it's an excellent book. He's a excellent audio version of it, and that's called The Comfort Crisis. And that's basically, when I listen to that, I'm like, wow, this is everything that I've been doing for the last however many years. It's just he was able to put it in words and writing. So
that's awesome. I'm going to have to check that out.
Yeah.
So, my thing showing up here, I probably don't look like it, but I actually do go into a gym past couple months now because my gym's been open again. Stupid COVID, right? But I bought a treadmill. I actually run on the treadmill. Yes, it has a screen. You're not in nature. It's not something you still have that connection with the technology and stuff, but I can get on the treadmill and run, but the things we did here with the different intervals and the different muscle groups you're using and all that stuff, it took everything out of me. There was I don't even remember what my heart rate was looking down at my watch because I couldn't focus enough to think of something like that. When I sat down probably 5 minutes later, I'm pretty sure it was at 130, 140 still. So, right. It had to have been up there. Kind of talk about that a little bit and how one, why that does that and why it's important to work those, and then kind of just, build into that.
Right. So without getting too nerdy, I mean, there's a lot of different energy systems that we work in our body. When we do cardio, that's usually you need oxygen to do that, or that's what you rely on for energy source. So that's something that, walking for all of us, running for most of us, but running can be very anaerobic for those that are out of shape or haven't ran, because you start tapping into the anaerobic system where it's you start depleting your muscle glycogen and stuff. And that's kind of what we were at today. It took, for the most part, most everybody was able to complete that in around 4 minutes. So 4 minutes, it's not aerobic. You're no longer in that aerobic zone where you're pushing yourself as hard as you can for 4 minutes. That's all purely anaerobic for the most part. And then you get the lactic acid buildup, because you can only push yourself for so long before your muscles start producing that byproduct, which starts to make you feel like crap. Your muscles start to tighten, you start getting nauseous and all that kind of stuff. So, there's a lot of research out there that shows either aerobic fitness is better than anaerobic, or lifting weights is better than running, whatever. It doesn't, I don't feed into all that crap. I think it's, you just do what you can do and you push yourself. But you have to have a goal, and being in the fitness industry for over 20 years, I hate the term goals. You need to have an objective. You need to have something to push yourself towards. And now I've structured my business to work more with hunters and those types of people. And our goal is to be able to go to the backcountry in September, or go on long hunts, or go to Alaska, or wherever it might be. So you have to, it's one, to have the physical fitness, but it's also to have the mental fitness. And you're only going to get the mental strength and stamina by pushing yourself physically. There's no other way to get it.
I think that's a good point that Brian is making, because, I think all of us that come to Brian's classes and participate with Brian and are now, pretty good friends with Brian, we all come from different walks of life. I run a ski area that during the summer it's not as busy, but we have lots of projects and maintenance and all that sort of stuff. But then once we're in winter, we see thousands of customers a day, and that's a stressful job, and managing all of the employees and the staff and that sort of thing. Ed does construction, which is hard on his body and has its challenges with customer service and that sort of thing. John works for Crown Forklift and deals with all sorts of employees that put his stress level through the roof. And we all come together on a Tuesday night and blow off all that stress that we've come up with over the course of the week. And I think, especially for myself, I can speak for, and I think for the rest of the guys as well, we look forward to Tuesday, because we know that's we can come out here and in a productive manner, blow off all that stress, blow off all that steam, get in a good workout, have a good time, have that camaraderie, and then actually have it produce something for us, which is be ready to go out in the mountains and kill something, or go out in the woods and not feel like a big lazy oaf. I got to my stand today. I didn't sweat through every layer of clothes that I have, so now my scent control is still on par. And I got up in the tree, and I can sit here, and when the biggest buck I've ever seen in my life comes in, my heart rate is through the roof, but I can control that. I can shoot. I can get that animal, and then I can post it to the Instagram and look like an asshole.
So I think you touched on CrossFit, or you asked Dana about if she's ever done CrossFit before. I've never personally done CrossFit. Some of our workouts are probably CrossFit style type stuff. But the thing that CrossFit has, and there's CrossFit lovers and haters, but the one thing that CrossFit does that's very good is it creates community. And it creates accountability partners, I guess is what you call it. And, there's a lot of groups, there's a lot of classes, and when you don't show up, people are like, hey, where are you at? Or there's just that, like I said, that accountability of having somebody, and you create that friendship. And really what we have here, I think, is pretty unique, because it's a group of hunters, and we have, like I keep mentioning, one goal in mind, and that's to get to the mountains. Being from the Midwest, I think we probably have a chip on our shoulder a little bit, because I have a lot of buddies in the mountains, or like Nathan said, you get on the social media world, and it's everybody's posting pictures and all this stuff, and it's, well, we'll just go for a hike or just do that. Well, we don't have mountains that we can just hike up, so we have to create that artificially for us.
Yeah.
And that's either with a box, a 20-inch box where we're doing step-ups or step-overs, or it's a ski hill here. I mean, it's not the biggest ski hill, and even in Wisconsin, it's not the biggest ski hill, but what we can do, we can get repetition. We can get up and down this multiple times. We're training our muscles multiple times, going up and down and traversing and stuff like that. So I think, if we talked a little bit about the ski world, a lot of your world-class downhill ski competitors come from the Midwest. And because it's repetition. It's not about the longest downhill ski slope that you can do. It's about getting that repetition in.
Speak to that. Lindsey Vohn's an Olympic athlete. She came from Buck Hill in Minnesota, which has less elevation than we do.
That's
It's about repetition.
I think it's pretty cool though that you guys have this like here, where like it is flat where I live. Yeah. I mean, this is awesome that you can somewhat replicate it, and to be able to do this and kind of give people a taste if they've never hunted and been out west and able to actually throw a pack on with some weight, head up that hill. I mean, that's something that, like I said, you cannot replicate that unless you have it.
Right. Well, and to speak to what Brian was talking about, CrossFitters can't hang with us. There ain't a chance. And, any of the listeners on there, come prove us wrong. I'll throw that out there. Like, it's a great community, and they're a great group of people, and I think it's great that they're getting out and being physically fit, but they can't hang with us. We'll put them to shame.
We've had CrossFitters. We had ultramarathoners. And, again, all that stuff is great, but it's very specific to what they do. What we try to do, and, again, to the events that we do, everything that we do in the BMAC events is geared towards hunting. There's some awesome events out there. There's the Tough Mudder. There's the death race. There's all these awesome things that I would love to do, or take pieces of that stuff and incorporate it into the events that we do. But I always look at how realistic is that to what we will encounter in the mountains. And some of that stuff is pretty out there, and I would love to do it. But I'm like, that's not what we are. We are for the hunter athlete. I would love to have a cold mountain stream here that we have to walk through, but we just don't have it. But we have we have very steep inclines here. They're not obviously as long as a mountain, but we have super steep inclines that we can get, again, a lot of repetition on. And like the event that we have next weekend, the King of the Hill 3D, right now we're sitting at about 160 shooters that are signed up. And that is geared towards people that want extreme angles, ups and downs, side hill shots, long distance shots. I put it the first week or kind of late July, early August, so people can come out and shoot that, test their gear out, so that they still have a few weeks before hunting season that they can kind of work those kinks out.
So with that being said, you're not turning on the lift, right? They're going to hike it? They're going to hoof it up
there?
there?
They're hiking it.
Okay.
Yeah, they're hiking it.
So then once again, it's going to kind of replicate that scenario of hauling your gear up to wherever you're going.
Right.
That's pretty cool. Ed, I want to kind of get into you a little bit in your story. Johnny told me an interesting one while we were eating lunch. Can we talk about your elk hunt?
Which one?
Well, that one.
Oh, that Johnny was on that. Ed was not on that.
I
wasn't on that one.
Ed wasn't on? Okay.
No,
Let's talk about the one.
But Ed's been on like 20-plus elk hunts. And so what I like to say is Ed is probably the one person, the reason why we're sitting here, because way back when, Ed started doing train to hunt before I did train to hunt. Ed introduced me to that, which then led me into competing in the train to hunts, which then led me into directing some of the train to hunts. And then with COVID and stuff and things not going the way, I decided to keep doing the BMAC events. So really, if it wasn't for Ed and his passion for elk hunting and for doing these fitness archery competitions, so he's been with us since day one.
I started working out with Brian in 2017, and it was to where I wanted to come work out with Brian to get in better shape to do train to hunt events. And then, I mean, I've been elk hunting, I mean, every year. For the last 20 years, I go out once or twice a year elk hunting. And then, maybe once or twice a year besides that, just go out in the mountains. But it was kind of funny that first time I went. I went to a boot camp class, and I worked out at Gold's Gym every day. And I come to a boot camp class and got my ass kicked. I mean, I couldn't keep up. I mean, go from lifting every day to one of these type of workouts, to hit workouts. And, I mean, it wasn't an archery workout, but it was still one of your boot camp classes.
Right.
And I was dying. I mean, honestly, I thought I was going to die. And I was like, Brian's just laughing his ass off the whole time. But
Yeah, they're definitely a total body workout. And again, I'm not dissing the gym workouts. I think there's a time and place for them. I think, that's definitely, if you need to get stronger, that's the time to get in the gym and do your deadlifts, your squats, your lunge, whatever it is. But there quickly comes a time in most people's fitness journey that for most people you hit a plateau or you get to a point where it's like, all right, now what? And is this really what I need to be doing for really what it is I want to do?
For what we do and for like the hunting, going out west. I mean, basically, I feel like we're all doing this because we hunt out west. I mean, maybe some of it's because we don't want to feel like we're going to have a heart attack before we crawl to our tree stand too. But I mean, most of us are doing this, I feel, because we're going out west to crawl in the mountains. But I mean, I come out here every Tuesday, mostly because of the people.
Yep.
And the group of people we have are amazing, and we're always pushing each other to be better. And that's the thing. That's one of the best things about coming out here on Tuesday nights, is you're coming out here because of the group of people, and they're amazing, and they're always pushing each other to be better every Tuesday.
That Ed had a good point there. That it really is about the camaraderie and the people that come out, but.
If it was only Brian out here on Tuesday nights, I probably wouldn't come out here.
Well, exactly. But, to Ed's point, he made the comment about going out west and things. And I can honestly say that I have become a better hunter here in the state of Wisconsin because of these classes. And I say that because I feel comfortable and confident in myself to go a little bit deeper, a little bit farther. The buck that I shot this year, I called Brian, hey, you got to come and help me. But I was a mile and a half in public land.
I think he told me about that, where he told you, no, let's drag it just to see how difficult it is.
Right.
Right? Is that the one?
Because I wanted to quarter it out and put it on our pack so that we could bring it out in our pack. And he's like, no, you know what? We're going to put it in the sled. We're going to see what it's like because I want to try to incorporate this into the BMAC games.
Well, and that's some of the fun that we have. Like when I hunted with Brian this year out here, night before me and Brian went hunting, I shot the biggest buck I've ever seen. He lived. He's still walking around. I've seen him alive.
We've seen him. We've seen him multiple times.
I called these guys. They came out middle of the night, helped me track him. We tracked him in as deep and far as we could, and he was gone. Next night, me and Brian go out. I got a vendetta. I'm getting something that night. I shot two deer back to back. What does Brian do? He puts an entire deer, not gutted, not quartered, not nothing, entire deer in his initial ascent back, and walks out of the woods with it.
That's what we call a Cam Haynes.
Yeah, and it was hilarious.
Just to clarify.
Well,
that's you were camming.
Yeah, like I said, I don't really train that much thinking I'm going to train for Wisconsin hunting.
Right.
I mean, most of it's for the mountains.
True.
But
exactly
but,
true.
I have been hunting farther in around here. I mean, I hunt public land just like you, not too far from where you hunt. And the last 2 deer I've shot on public land, I'm a mile from my truck. So the first one I shot, I put whole on my backpack and carried it out whole. And then, it was a doe. It was a good-sized doe, but carried it out whole. And I got some looks as I'm walking out like, are you stupid? I walked past a couple of people walking back to the truck, and they're just kind of like, you know, like, what's on your back? I'm like, a full-size deer. But then the next year I shot a nice buck, and a little bigger, but still I quartered it out, and I hiked the whole thing out. Again, before Brian's classes or before that, I probably never would have done that in Wisconsin. I never would have walked a mile back in Wisconsin.
Well,
like, that would have been like big deal.
Exactly. That's exactly my point, is that, you know, I felt that, and I feel that I'm going to go back and I'm going to get into the prime spot. You know, I'm going to go and I'm going to start, you know, from a scouting standpoint and then going back into hunting. I'm not afraid to go way back in, and not that there's these huge tracts of land in Wisconsin, but, you know, you can still get 2 miles back in, and you got 2 miles to get out to the nearest road.
Yeah.
I feel confident and comfortable now because of these classes. And I think truly it's a mindset. It's not necessarily that I'm humping up and down these
I think that's
hills.
part of it, though, Johnny. You don't want your physical ability to be the limiting factor, but at the same time, if you have the physical ability but you don't know you can push yourself that far,
Exactly.
you're not going to be able to do it.
Yep, exactly.
I get that.
It's a mindset, you know, that a lot of people don't realize that they probably can do the same thing. And, you know, maybe we're going to give away all our secrets that, hey, come out and work on our class and, you know, gain the confidence to go and hike back in. And next thing you know, we're surrounded by people back in
That's
these
good.
places
Then you
that
just
we
go to your
hunt
truck,
and stuff.
though.
Then,
You just
well,
hunt-
yeah.
Then you hunt from your truck.
Right,
But
exactly.
I know a lot of people that go out west that quit after 1 year. They go out there 1 year and say it
Yes.
was the most miserable thing they've done in their life because they couldn't handle walking off their four-wheeler.
Yeah.
You know, they spent
Yeah.
the entire time on their Ranger or their four-wheeler, and they're like, oh, I put 40 miles in on my Ranger. I'm like, well, that's not elk hunting.
No.
But you know, they said, oh yeah, then we got off and we walked to the bottom of the hill and walked back up, put a mile on our boots, but I was dying. I'm like,
Yeah. The difficulty is
Because
what
they're-
drew me back.
yeah,
You know
but
what
they
I
were
mean?
they were used to
Yeah.
used to Wisconsin deer hunting, where you can just walk to your tree stand and not feel like you're going to die. And you know, but these classes prepare you for actually going out west and enjoying yourself. And that's the whole thing. It's like you don't want to feel like you're gonna, you know, if you're gonna spend the kind of money and kind of effort and put the kind of gear, or spend that kind of money on the gear to go out west, you want to make sure that your body
Yeah.
can actually take you there. And
You could have all the gear in the world, but
Right.
if you can't get there, it's
Yeah.
no point.
yeah, you tell people they spent $3,000 in new gear this year, but if your body can't get you there, who cares?
So I want to put another young woman on the spot here. Her name is Valerie. Valerie has not done any of my classes, but she's done. She did the BMAC games, new to archery, I believe. I'll let her tell her little brief story, because I think it's important for people, especially women, because I would love to get more women involved with these events. And like Dana, she knew nobody here, and I believe Valerie knew nobody here. She just found us online or something like that. So I want Valerie to maybe give you your listeners some insight.
Yeah.
And if I'm stuttering a little bit, it's because I'm 3 whiskey sours in right now.
Oh, here we go.
So,
Brian had to bring that up.
so that is why my speech is not the best right now.
It's all good.
All right. So here is Valerie.
They were celebratory drinks, just so everybody knows. But so, kind of tell me your story. What was the deal? What drew you here? What brought you here? And then, kind of, how has the journey gone?
There were years ago that I wanted to learn archery, and then my ex had disappeared from our life and had died like months after he walked out on us. And so I had to set that goal aside of learning how to shoot archery. And my daughter brought up wanting to learn a couple years ago, back in, I think, 2019. And we both decided to go ahead and go learn together. And my son said he wanted to learn how to hunt. And I didn't grow up in a hunting family at all, or any outdoorsy family at all. So it was entirely new to me. But I was like, you know what? I like being outside. I like the physical challenges. So trying to learn how to hunt and everything sounded like a good idea to me. I'm like, I learned to love archery really quick. And we had started out on recurves and learned all that. And I was already into the physical fitness aspect of everything. And so trying to go out and learn how to bow hunt seemed like a natural progression of things for me.
So, what'd you use? What kind of resources? Where'd you go to get to that level, to where you could go out and not only educate yourself, but then mentor your son, which is awesome, right?
Yeah.
That you're doing that, because ultimately, what is the goal other than to not only set ourselves up to where we have that knowledge, but to be able to pass knowledge on to a future generation is amazing.
I think for people who don't hunt at all and who haven't been introduced to archery or anything, it was extremely hard to find somewhere to learn how to shoot a bow, how, like, the whole process and everything, because you think like, oh, just pull a string back and shoot an arrow and it'll work. But that's not it at all. So it took a while to find somewhere to actually learn. And we found a place actually nearby that taught us how to shoot recurves, and then eventually I picked up a compound bow and I was like, oh, I need to buy one of these. I need to learn more. I want to go this route. I want to find this out.
It's not the easy button.
Yeah. Well, not that recurves were something I didn't want to do. I still want to do that. I want to buy my own one of those and get better at that too. But the compound bow was kind of like a thing that it was just easy to pick up and do, and kind of exciting almost.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And so I had done, I know Tough Mudders were brought up and everything. I'd done, I don't know, like 9 of those in the past. And I got into this whole physical fitness thing as an adult in my 30s, actually, right before my ex had walked out on us. And so I really developed this whole desire to just pull myself together and do all this stuff by myself and figure things out and go out and do the things that I was scared to do.
So let's kind of go into the hunting a little bit then. Have you gone and actually taken an animal, been out yet? How far are we? How far along?
I've been out. I started like midway through the fall season in 2019 and started trying to go out on my own, on public land, on the ground, trying with a compound bow.
Kudos.
Awesome.
I didn't have any luck. And then I headed out. I was actually in 2020 when COVID hit. I had signed up for a class for spring turkey hunting through the DNR, and they shut that class down. And I was like, you know what, I'm just going to buy the thing, and I'm going to go out and try myself anyway. And so I went out and tried. I didn't have any luck. I was still on public ground, so I didn't really have any idea what I was doing.
It's
and
tough.
Trying to figure it all out and piece everything together was awkward. But then last fall, I gained access to some private land, and I was starting able to be pulling everything together and see what was going on the land without that public land influence. And so it kind of bolstered my own confidence on
booster,
everything.
Right? Yeah, for sure. So where do you think it's going to go from here? Are you going to take your son out yet? Is he old enough, or is he?
He's old enough, but he kind of waffles on things. And so right now he's back to where he's like, I don't know.
He sees mom come home with a deer.
Yeah.
You know, it'll probably change the story a little bit. But don't feel bad. Don't feel discouraged.
Oh, yeah,
I had an awesome piece of private land. I started bow hunting when I was 15, 16, somewhere right in there. I shot archery a little bit before that. And it took me 4 years before I downed a deer. 4 years. And I had an awesome piece of property to do it on. So trying to do that, coming from nothing, no hunting background. I didn't have any mentors or anything. I just had friends that wanted to pick up a bow and hunt too. And we all hunted the piece of property that I had access to, of course, right? But that seems how it normally works. But, I mean, it happens, but the people who stick with it, the people like Ed talked about earlier about people go out and they talk about it's the most miserable, worst experience of their life, right? But then they come back. Those are the people, because something, no matter what, it triggers something in you. It draws you. It pulls you in. And then next thing you know, you're doing it. And all of a sudden it's like, hey, this is real. This is happening. And now I'm here. I made it happen, whether it's all on your own or even mentorship, which everybody should try and find a mentor if they can. So it sounds like you need to take her out a little bit. And
we'll get her out here. We'll make sure she gets a deer this year. And and I think that's what Brian himself and what Brian is doing is, it's particularly awesome and great, is it takes some of this adversity out of it.
Right.
Like I said earlier, the first year I was out bow hunting, I walked out and 3 things. 2 does, 1 nut buck, because I thought it was a big doe. But I would not have been able to do that had it not been for both training with Brian and hunting with Brian. And that speaks to the level of skill that he has imparted into so many people. And, you know, part of the fun of our classes and our events and all that sort of stuff is we push each other to that next level too. There's, you know, we give each other crap, and it's, oh, you can't hit this, or you can't shoot that, or you can't do this. And just today, it's, well, you can't have 2 whiskey sours and then hit a target from 100 yards away. Well, what do you know? They went out and had 2 whiskey sours and hit a target from 100 yards away.
135.
Oh, there you go, 135.
So, yeah, I mean,
you know, that's improving our skills.
absolutely.
It's making it easier for us to go out there and participate in a sport that isn't particularly easy. I mean, you know, the level of failure to success in whether it's deer hunting, elk hunting, whatever type of hunting, you know, you're only succeeding a very small percentage of the time that you're out there. But then it's learning to appreciate being out there and everything that's incorporated in that, and then being part of that community. Before knowing Brian, I had picked up a bow at one point in time that I got given to me, and I went out in my backyard and shot at a couple things and put a bunch of holes in the side of my shed and said, this is stupid. I can't hit nothing with this stupid thing. And I put it in my garage and didn't pick it up again. And I didn't have a bow that was, I bet there was a 7-year time period between the time I had that bow and before Brian walked into my office one day and said, hey, you want to do this crazy event out here? And I could see the passion in him and the passion that he had for both his events, but then also teaching people to be successful at what he's passionate about. And it's not he's not going to come out and go hunting with you and, you know, put you in a place where you're uncomfortable or put you in a place that you can't succeed. He's going to teach you how to deal with that being uncomfortable and make sure that at some point in time you have the skill set to be successful out there in the woods or in the mountains or just in life in general. I mean, there's so many principles and things that we do at class or in the Beast Mode games or the mini challenge or whatever. It's skills and tools to just deal with life and some of the bullshit that we have to put up with in the world that we live in and process all that stuff. And it just creates better people.
I can guarantee you, like what you said, nobody's thinking about that as they're carrying sandbags and ducking up, going over the over-under and picking up that sled. Right. The last thing on their mind is, you know, rent that's due, bills, whatever. Right. None of those problems are there while they're doing that. Right. And just giving somebody that time even to kind of decompress, not think about those things, that's a health benefit. Totally, right?
Well, and
physical and mental.
I think especially now and in this last year, we still had classes during the height of the pandemic. They're outside. But I think on Tuesday nights, people got a sense of what life was like pre-2020 or whatever it was. Yeah. Because we were all hanging out, we were all shooting our bows, doing stuff. And then, I mean, I felt like that. And then you drive home, and then the next day on Wednesday, it's like, got to put this frickin' mask on and got to do this crap. And, you know, I looked forward to Tuesday night's class. I don't always get to participate, but I look forward to it because it's just, you're outside, it's just something about it. But, and even now, I look forward to it. It's one of my favorite things about my job is that Tuesday night class. And we have, anywhere from 10 to 15, sometimes as many as 20 people out here for a class. So it's great. I look forward to the events. The events are probably a lot harder work than what most people think they are. There's a lot that goes into them.
I'm pretty sure I knew that it was going to be super hard when and my expectations met, the reality met the expectation. I knew coming into it that I was like, man, okay, I'm going to do it. No matter what, I'm just going to push myself through it. I don't care. I'm not competing against everybody else. It's going to be competing against myself to see where I'm at, and then I'm going to have to improve. Unfortunately, I don't have an accountability coach or anything like that, so it's up to me. So I'm going to have to do that.
But and that's the best part about it is up to you. Yeah. Because we've seen guys who come out here, and they come strictly for the they're going to come out here and kick our asses. They're coming for the competition. And we've seen a guy at the indoor a couple times now. And he comes, and he's going to kick our ass, and he's head of the pack.
Do I know this guy? Let's just clarify.
No.
No.
Are you sure he doesn't live in Illinois?
No, it's not him.
Okay.
He comes, and he's going to kick our ass. And I think he does maybe live in Illinois, but I don't
So
think
he's talking about a different person.
Yeah.
But you know the person I'm talking
yeah.
about. He didn't win, though, did he?
Well, and that's the thing, and that's what I think that's what's particularly great about this is these guys who are like ultra competitive, and they come out and they're, I've killed 52 species across 36 continents and the biggest this and that, and I can come out there and hang with the best of you, and they come out here and they get their asses handed to them, and it's hilarious. But the camaraderie of the people is, even though they're getting their ass handed to them, we make sure they get done. We make sure they do it safely. We're still friends.
Probably cheer
with
them on,
them. We
too.
cheer them on. We encourage them to do the best that they can. And, at the end of the day, some of them kind of pout and huff, and I didn't win. And none of us care about winning. A Vortex game, the indoor games at Vortex this year, I was DFL, dead last. Like, I couldn't have been anywhere. So I had gotten a new bow. I think, what was there, 20?
We don't need to make excuses here.
Well, no, I mean, there was 20 targets in there. 18 bodies, 2 misses is what I shot. And I could have been like, F this, I'm not going to do this anymore. But no, then the Beast Mode games.
It'd be kind of hard to live it down, though, especially being that your place is the place where they actually have it. I'm just saying.
Right, no, for sure, I agree. And so Beast Mode games, what was that, a month and a half later? I was 11th. I was trying my best for 10th. The second stage of Brian's course just destroyed me, and I got 11th. And I'm not making excuses. Next year, I'm getting 10th. And
his goal is top 10.
So
my goal is top 10. I'm not trying to win. I'm trying to get top 10. And I'm at the older end of my division. I'm in the 40 and under, and I'm 36. And I'm giving it everything I can to keep up with some of these 20-year-olds.
So I've got something to look forward to in a couple of years then, is what you're saying,
there you
is
go.
because I bounce into that 40 category.
Yep.
But
But that's what's cool about this is that, again, like I said, we do have elite athletes. Greg Hack, who's won pretty much every event that I've had, but he's the most humble person. You'd never know that he was who he is and what he can do because he's there cheering everybody on. He's very quiet. He's whatever. But like Nathan's saying is that there's fun competition. It's to make ourselves better, but then most people, once they start doing these events, they come back to them, and then you get to know one another, and then you start creating this fun competition between your fellow teammates or competitors, I guess. And then you're trying to outdo one another, but it's all in good spirit, though.
Yeah, and we're pushing each other to the next level, and it's also if you win, you win. But you ain't getting a participation ribbon just for crossing that finish line. We're all going to give you a high five and a hug, and you did an awesome job. But you don't just get an award for participating. You come out there, you do the best that you can do, and cross that finish line for you, not for anybody else, not for some silly medal, not for a free beer. It's you get across the line for you, and I think that's what's really great about it is it helps you push you.
So let's do a little pivot here real quick. Let's talk about, you did it different this year than you're planning on doing it next year. So the BMAC, the BMAC Mini you did after the BMAC games.
Right.
And you're kind of thinking next year you're going to do the BMAC Mini before, so in case somebody like myself wants to get a taste of it, they can go, you know what, I'm going to do this, and I'm not going to compete in the main game, but I'm going to go home and I'm going to work at it.
Right.
And I'm going to come back and I'm going to compete. And I want to not only beat my times that I had last time, but be able to do the full course.
Right. So this event, the BMAC Mini, I think we talked about that briefly. This came about after we did the BMAC games. So now that we've done it and I've thought about kind of the schedule of events for next year, I think it makes sense to do the BMAC Mini before the full-on BMAC games to help, like a person like you, Lucas, to a chance to try it out, to see, okay, am I ready? Is it as hard as what I think it's going to be? Or where am I? It's a benchmark. It's I've been training for it, but I'm not for sure if the training that I'm doing is right, or do I need to work on my cardio more, or my strength more, or my shooting. I think 90% of us need to work on our shooting more out there from the.
I think the sled drag was the worst part of all of it. I'm just going to come out and say that. The sled drag was terrible.
Just remove the hill.
Yeah.
Just flatten the ground.
If it wasn't up a ski hill, it wouldn't be that bad.
Right.
Yes.
So compared to what we do on Tuesday nights, that was easy.
Okay, well.
Tuesday night class is a 90-minute class of just whatever I can think of. So, and this was you did it for 5 minutes. So, I needed 2 rounds of it.
We've done
4 minutes and 49 seconds, whatever. But
we've done sled drags for class it's 3 guys on a sled because we have over 100 pounds in it. And we go down our snow tubing hill and up the hill on the other side.
It's probably a mile.
All uphill.
sounds fun.
And then
you get to sled down.
Yeah, you turn around and you come back and you do it again. And then
usually do something where we have to turn around, though.
Right.
We do like a workout, and then you have to turn around.
But so somebody wants to come and maybe do the games or do the mini, but they want to train.
Right.
What can somebody, like, especially like myself that comes up here, I can't drive 3 hours each way on a Tuesday to come and do the class. What can I do at home to kind of prepare myself or ready myself to do this?
It's a great question. I think the number one thing that people can do is to put your pack on and get out there and ruck. What I mean by rucking is walking with a weighted pack, walking fast, jogging. Once you start running with a pack, that starts to put a lot of pressure on your joints and stuff. So I don't really advise that. You need to build into that. But I think the biggest thing is rucking, is walking with a weighted pack off pavement, is get on trails because you use so many more muscles. When I used to do Tough Mudders, the most common thing that I would hear in the first half mile of people all around me was, wow, this is really hard. I've never ran off pavement, or I've never ran off of a treadmill. Like you work muscles that
it's all your stabilizers.
Yeah, it's all your stabilizing muscles. So you have to get off. You have to get in nature. Again, the whole thing about getting outdoors and getting in nature, you have to get on a trail. You have to bushwhack, whatever it is, but get a pack on and get outside. You can do that anywhere, right? Second is you have to have a base strength. Strength and like functional cardio. What I mean by that is rucking, is walking with a weighted pack, because that's primarily what we do for the events. You have to have strength to get up the hill. I mean, people think that it's all cardio, but it's really not, because you have to have the strength to carry that weight, because you're not just carrying your body weight. You're carrying anywhere from 20 to 50 pounds, depending on age group and male or female or whatever like that. So you got to have the strength to do that. So that is, if you want to be a gym rat and get in and do squats and stuff like that, or again, you use a weighted backpack and do lunges. You can do squats. You can do all that stuff. With a pack. So
I feel like do a shit ton of burpees. Do a shit ton of burpees.
You should do a lot of burpees.
We do a lot of burpees.
With a lot of weight. Yeah. Don't forget the weight.
This is a totally different type of workout. It really is, because I've spent hours and hours and hours in the gym. I can squat a lot. I can deadlift a lot. I can bench press a lot, and none of that does me
not an ounce of good.
Ounce of good.
That.
Yeah. No. It trains you from head to toe, and the mental piece of it is it puts you in that next level.
And as a woman, I was going to say, I think the one thing that I don't train enough is carrying the weight. I train a lot with a weighted vest on, but I don't go out and try to get up a hill. I don't go out I'm doing a gym workout with a weighted vest on, and it's not the same as trying to haul it up a hill.
What I think is even crazier, though, is, weighted vest, it's centering that weight.
Yeah,
versus
very
putting
nicely,
the pack on.
evenly dispersed.
Now,
yes.
Granted, our initial ascent packs are pretty cool, and they balance that load rather well. But at the same time, getting that pack on and having that weight on your back, and trying to distribute it that way.
I'm not a fan. I prescribe weighted vests to some clients, but I'm not a fan. I don't use them myself. It's getting that pack on. Again, it's training like how you're going to be competing or how you're going to be running. So you got to get that pack on. You got to have it fit it correctly.
That's a huge thing for women too, that I've noticed. I've been talking to other women here at all these things, because I have a problem trying to get a weight a pack on that fits properly. It's like
Initial
it's
ascent. Once
squishing
again, here we go.
everything. It's
I better
it's-
get paid for
yeah,
this
it's just-
episode.
it just doesn't fit right, and it's just like you can't breathe, and there's abrasion going on in places. And I've noticed some who have like adjustments, and like they've been able to put things down below chest and everything instead of having that chest strap across the top where it just doesn't work well and it doesn't support things well, and men have an easier time in that regard. Like you can put
my
those
wife
on, it's
said
just
that
like,
the chest strap for women should be like a bra strap that goes like somehow.
That wouldn't be a one-size-fits-all, I don't think.
Like, I
that
can't
would
even-
be
I can't
kind of
even-
expensive.
I
but-
can't even handle wearing like the binoculars
Right.
on there just because it just doesn't fit properly. It's awkward, and it's just like, okay, I'm just gonna put that in my pack because it's easier that way.
So what's kind of the game plan then for next year? So it's going to be BMAC Mini first. Hopefully it doesn't get too crowded because you like to still – it's good to actually see you come out of retirement and do a little bit of stuff with them. But
yeah, it's fun.
So BMAC Mini and then like 6 weeks before or something.
So
what are you thinking?
What we're thinking right now, we're going to have the BMAC indoor event at Vortex Optics. It's March. I believe it's March 5th and 6th. It's the first weekend in March will be the indoor event. And then the BMAC Mini, I think, will take place of the 3D shoot and swap meet, which we might still have the swap meet and 3D shoot or some type of combination, but I think we'll for sure have the BMAC Mini May, I believe it's 14th and 15th. You look at the calendar, it's whatever that weekend is right there. I believe it's May 14th and 15th. And then the last weekend in June, which again, I think it's the 26th and 27th of next year, will be the BMAC Games. And then the, let's see, that's the BMAC Games. And then the last weekend of July will be the King of the Hill 3D. So those are the main events. We do 3D scrambles. We do other little stuff, kind of as my schedule, and as Nathan and the schedule here at Tyrol Basin, they have other stuff going on. So as things allow, we do other little stuff throughout the year. So
Yeah. No, that's cool.
I think for the three of us, we're going to throw down. We want to see you complete the games
Whoa,
next year.
jeez. Maybe. We'll see.
Hey.
I was going to
Are we
say.
putting out a challenge right
think
here?
we are.
I think.
I think we are, because I think he's got it in him.
Oh, I want to.
Well, wait, it's still July, so technically it's 11 months away, buddy.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm
So-
not going to do it.
so
Just like I
Lucas-
told Johnny, Johnny
but you're not
guilted
saying
me
you are going to
into
do
this.
it, though.
We'll see where I'm at. We'll see where I'm at.
I did.
We will
I,
see where
I
I'm
did.
at.
I did
I'm
push
not gonna
Lucas
do
just
this.
a little bit.
Did you?
To try? Yeah,
I did not know
did.
about this,
I
Lucas.
personal
Oh yeah.
messaged
No,
him.
it was malicious
Was it
attacks.
really?
Malicious. I won't say attacks. I will call it malicious motivation per IG comments.
Okay.
That's what we do.
So,
now.
so maybe I need to put this out there. So Johnny Love 2019 is like my main right hand guy who helps me with everything, and he's also very, very passionate about what we do. So if he ever messages any of you and heckles you, it's on behalf of Johnny Love, not necessarily the Beast Mode Archery Challenge.
That is a good thing. However, I planned on coming anyway, and I'm pretty sure I said, why don't you open registration then? Because there was no
Yes.
registration. And then like the next day it opened, right? And
It did.
And what did I do? Not only did I take a picture of it, I posted it. So it was up there for everybody to see, and I came.
You did. You put it out there.
I think you were the second one to register. possibly.
He was. I think.
Yeah.
Well,
he put it out there, and you know what?
I tried
He-
registering before Johnny even guilted me. I want that out there to the public
Fair
that I
enough.
actually
Fair
tried,
enough.
and pre-registration wasn't open unless I had a code. I don't know.
Oh, the early access code.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
So I
That's
didn't
what
have
it
that.
was.
well, and
So I said open registration, and I'll do it, and I did it.
Well,
So-
we've been on a few different podcasts, and he's the only podcaster who actually put his money where his mouth
Oh,
is.
that is a very good.
Because none of the
So-
none of the
So
other
let's-
ones have
let's hear
shown
it.
up.
Who should
Nathan,
who do we
Nathan
need to
has
call
that
out?
right.
What was it? Bow Hunter?
The Bowhunter Chronicles.
Adam and John.
Adam
Yeah,
and
where
John,
are they at?
Adam and John, Bowhunter Chronicles. Where are you? Let's see, Bucks of America podcast.
We gotta
Although
get Jeff.
Jeff has come to some of the 3D stuff.
That doesn't count. 3D archery does not count compared to this. I'm sorry.
So we're going to call out Jeff Vance.
Jeff Vance, calling Jeff Vance out.
Okay.
Oh boy.
You know you're going to have to send these to me so I can tag
So
them in
I
this,
can
right?
tell you that we're going to have to get Eric and Greg from
Yes,
Where to Hunt.
Been on their podcast.
So
Greg came to a couple classes.
Greg actually came to a couple classes this winter.
Okay, I'll give him that.
And he really wanted to fit
Maybe
in this.
he
now,
had prior obligations.
Now,
whatever.
granted, he had a problem with his wrist. He had some prior obligations, such as maybe fishing out on Lake Michigan, which he caught a huge salmon.
Kind of
I
sounds
made
like
sacrifices.
excuses.
I know.
I mean, those guys probably live closer than me too. I mean,
Well,
they
they
live
do.
in Wisconsin.
They do.
I mean, I've got a 3-hour drive ahead of me here too.
Yes, you
so.
do.
Right. So you have the podcast crown right now.
Thank you.
You're the
Thank
only
you.
one who's
You
put
do.
your money
You do.
So
where your mouth
you
is
guys
and
can
done
guilt
it.
me all you want.
Hey, you know what?
I'm not gonna put it in writing or in stone right now, but I will say this
will.
is something
Well,
I would like
I think
to
we
do.
will.
Oh, is
And
that
I
what
think
it
we
is?
need to do
And
that.
I hope you
Get it in the
do.
grave.
We will put it in
Seriously,
stone.
I hope you do, Lucas,
If
because
dates
I think
align
that
to where I
you
can do it, I will do it.
I think that you fit in. you really, seriously, I think that you would enjoy this group, and
Oh, I
you
would.
fit in really
if
well.
I didn't have to drive,
I mean,
I'd come to the Tuesday nights for sure. I mean, it seems like it's awesome, right?
yeah.
I hated it when I was doing it. Like I said, I hated it when I was
Guess
doing
what?
it.
We all do.
But I did it, and afterwards I was like, okay, crap, I still got one more round to do.
I hate
And
it
then-
every week. Nathan and I look at each other and we're like, this sucks. Why do we do this?
Yeah, every week.
But you know what? The next morning when we get up, we're like, we are glad that we actually got out here and did it.
And you can eat that extra
most
cookie
of-
the
most
next
of
day,
the-
too,
Most
you know?
of the time. Most of the time. Sometimes I can't hardly get out of bed, but
Sometimes you got to use 2 hands to sit down on the toilet.
you do.
But it's rewarding.
to pee, just to clarify on that.
Yes, of course.
And on that note, I think
Nathan
this is a
squats to
good
pee.
time to wrap this up.
Good time to wrap
We're
it
well
up.
over an hour here. So, no, I appreciate it. I think it was awesome that I got to come out and do it. Thank you for guilting me into it, Johnny, even though I tried before you made that
Yes,
comment.
I know you
So-
did.
Well-
I know you did, but you know what? I'm always gonna throw it out there. I am. As Brian said, seriously, I am extremely passionate about this.
So I'm
and
pretty sure I need to, like, print that out now and have it, like, put onto something.
I think you should
and
put
then-
it in a plaque and hang it above.
Or I might even just try
in
and
your
pick up the
podcast
old
room.
post and then go on there. Now I can comment on it
We'll
again,
come
right?
up with something, but no, I mean, seriously, I appreciate your time coming up here. Just like everybody that comes to the events, I'm very, very thankful for people that come out. Summer weekends are very precious to. Nathan gave me a
Precious.
hard time yesterday that a grown man should never use the word precious.
Well, isn't that just precious?
Yeah.
See, it's not that bad.
It's pretty bad.
Well, okay.
Pretty bad.
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
give it to you.
But anywho, I mean, seriously, I very much, I very much appreciate everybody that comes out to these events, and it's really the people that come out to these events that make it epic, that make it great. It's I'm very thankful for those people. I'm thankful for the people that follow me on social media and believe in what we're doing and maybe just live too far. I mean, we have people that live in Arizona that wish they could come here. We have one guy that used to do the events, but he moved to Arizona and he misses it badly.
Well, you got one that came from Arizona and
did.
stays the summers up here too. Now
Yeah.
that's real quick. Is that the same guy that had both knees replaced?
No,
Okay.
guy.
It's not.
Okay.
Yep.
Because I was just trying to clarify. I'm like, wow, he did really good. Like 6
No,
months ago,
it-
had 2 brand new knees.
It wasn't Dave, and let's not even get into that because that's a whole nother podcast.
He gave you a run for your money, but
we
yeah.
need to get Dave on a podcast seriously because he's something else.
All right.
Well, and maybe some of your listeners are wondering, hey, I can't get to this. How do we support Brian or get the word out or whatever? Share it on social media. Social media likes nothing more than to block Brian's post because we're
What? They're blocking now?
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
that's the filter. It's the new filter thing.
Well,
I had to go
it
change
was
but-
during COVID. I was an event
Yep.
that was still I was still doing stuff during COVID.
Mm.
I'm hunting related.
And you don't follow the mask. Yeah,
Yeah.
I see it.
So
I see it
it's
now.
Share it.
Seriously. I mean,
Next, you're going to be posting anti-vax stuff and all kinds of. We won't go into that.
we are very much for doing whatever can get people to come out and participate.
Choice. It's
Whatever,
all about
Yeah,
choice.
whatever you want to do.
Just make the right ones and come and
Right.
get
right.
fit.
But yeah,
Exactly.
if you,
GFB, right? Get
Yeah.
fit with Brian. I think that's a good right there. We're just because we could keep going.
Yeah.
And
we
We
could
could
go
talk
all
for
night
we
long.
could talk all night.
so thank you guys.
Thank you,
Thank you
Lucas.
for welcoming me in. Let me come out. harassing me to come here, Johnny.
Hey, you
It's
know
all
what?
good.
You did great, buddy.
I appreciate it. The fact that you showed up. You know what? You did what you came to do.
And all those other podcasters didn't.
Guess what? You completed it.
Lucas,
Dude,
if you don't hit the
it's-
stop button, John's going to keep talking, buddy.
All right.
I'll keep
All right.
talking.
Thank
all
you
night
guys so
long.
much.
Thanks a lot.
And once again, thank you so much for listening to the Publicly Challenged podcast. I hope you enjoyed the show, and if you did, please subscribe on whatever platform it is you're listening to. Also, if you could leave a review, that would help us out. And you can check us out on Instagram or at publiclychallenged.com. And once again, thank you so much for listening to the show.